virtual worlds were all the rage of the early 2000s, from games like Club Penguin to Webkinz to even more obscure ones. This boom of virtual worlds saw brands and new companies try to get in on the virtual world action. As someone who grew up online, I had an absolute infatuation with these virtual worlds growing up. I feel like it was every month I was going to my parents begging for a new membership to some new virtual world that I found, and every time them being like, "Hey Eric, you can only have one at a time. You need to chill out on this." And I still share that obsession and love with virtual worlds. So in today's video, I'm going to be revisiting some old virtual worlds that you may have forgotten about. We're going through 100+ virtual worlds, so sit down, grab your popcorn, because we're gonna be here for a while. Action All-Stars. Launched in 2008 by 6 Degree Games, Action All-Stars was the premier sports-themed virtual world. Users could play sports-themed games and trivia. Probably the most appealing factor of this game was the licensing they had with various sports leagues. This made it so your character could wear actual merchandise of your favorite team. They launched a mobile version in 2011, but it was too little too late, with the game shutting down in 2012. Animal Jam. Opening in 2010 in partnership with National Geographic, Animal Jam was a game where you were an animal and jam. I'm just kidding, I never played this game, but it looked like you could be an animal, decorate your den, and interact with other players. The game was advertised as educational, as it would try to engage users in various animal-related topics. BarbieGirls.com. Contrary to popular belief, I did not play this game growing up, and there would be no issue if I did. I just didn't play it. BarbieGirls.com opened in 2007, where you could create your own Barbie girl and dress her up. Users could get access to more content by either purchasing a monthly VIP membership or by buying a Barbie MP3 player. I feel like they would have been better off promoting actual Barbies as a way to get people to play, but what do I know? Despite having a fast start, the website shut down in 2011. BeanieBabies 2.0. BeanieBabies 2.0 were Beanie Babies that came with a special code to play with your pet online. It was Webkinz. It was essentially just a Webkinz ripoff. Pretty much the same concept, however, they did have this red dog named Snoots that was a tour guide of sorts, and let's just say his voice was pretty interesting.
Some nice window treatments or an area rug?
There aren't many videos documenting this game, and it just seems like another virtual world that was lost to time. But there are plenty of Snoots videos online for some reason. This game closed in 2013. Big Bible Town. Launched in 2010, the creators of this game wanted to create Club Penguin, but for the Bible. They wanted to make biblical teaching interesting, which as someone who went to Catholic school for his entire life, good luck trying to get third graders interested in that. Set in the 1st century, characters were to build their church town and go on different adventures. Not much is known about this game, and it appeared to quickly fizzle out. Weevils. Weevils was a British game created by Prism Entertainment and Nickelodeon UK. Players were to take care of their weevil? Wait, what is a weevil? Oh, so it looks like it's just a type of beetle. To be honest, I kind of appreciate how they picked this as the animal to represent their virtual world. Club Penguin had penguins, which are familiar, accessible, and cute, and this game was like, no, we'll just have a bug. Players could decorate their nests, create their own business, and earned mulch as a form of currency, while VIP members could become game reporters and publish magazine issues and go on secret missions as a secret agent, which is probably the coolest membership perk I've seen for virtual worlds. This game lasted until 2021, and of course there's a rewritten project. Build-A-Bearville. Launched in 2007, this was essentially Build-A-Bear's attempt at Webkinz, and to be honest, the game was kinda good. From fun reoccurring events like Camp Happy Heart or visiting the North Pole, this game was constantly creating fun activities to keep people like me coming back. The soundtrack was also probably the best as far as virtual worlds go. I mean, just listen to some of these songs. The game shut down in 2015. There is a rewritten project in the works, but it looks like they got a copyright claim from Build-A-Bear. If you want more info on this game, I made a video a while back documenting the entire game, so go watch that. Camp Pete. Launched in 2009, Camp Pete was a virtual world centered around Pete Carroll. At the time, he was the head coach of the USC Trojans football team. If you paid for MVP, you got access to cool cosmetics and Mimo Blasters. Mimo Blasters were basically like these kind of laser guns that you could use in the game. The game continued to run even after Carroll left USC to coach the Seattle Seahawks. Through looking back at the Wayback Machine, it looks like the game closed at the beginning of 2013. Cartoon Network Mini Match. Launched in 2007, this game was Cartoon Network's stab at a virtual world. Avatars were called minis, and they could play games based on different Cartoon Network shows. The game shut down in 2009. It's unclear why the game shut down, but Cartoon Network later released Fusion Fall, so I assume they were just making room for that. Chimpoo. This game launched in 2010. It's a pretty generic virtual world where you play as a monkey and play minigames. This game ended in 2015. Chobots. Beginning in 2008, Chobots was a game featuring alien-like creatures who lived in outer space. The game was free to play, but you could gain citizenship if you became a member. Citizenship granted you access to citizen-only rooms, unique virtual items, and a green chat bubble to show everyone you were a member and way cooler than them. The game shut down in 2011, but there is a revival of it called Showtopia that has been running since 2014. Clube Penguin. I think everyone knows this game. Clube Penguin began in 2005 and was sold to Disney in 2007 for $350 million, according to the Wall Street Journal. Users played the game as penguins, could adopt pets called puffles, make friends, and play mini-games. I think my favorite thing from Clube Penguin was the dojo, and I really liked the sledding game too. I remember the game, of course, but a big thing for me were the products you could buy in real life. I had the DS game, the plush, the figures, the trading cards, you name it. And yes, I had a Clube Penguin membership and was a Clube Penguin YouTuber at one point, but I'm not telling you the name of that channel, so you'll just have to settle for this old gameplay that I found. The game shut down in 2017, but you can play the game through private servers. Clube Penguin Island. I'd prefer not to talk about this game. I'd like to pretend this never happened, so let's just ignore this, okay? Clube Time Machine. This was an online Dutch virtual world that involved time travel. Users could go to a bunch of different periods, like the Roman Empire. To be honest, I can't really find a lot about this game other than these pictures and really short YouTube videos. All the social pages and videos I found were from 2009, so it seemed like this game didn't last very long. Clube Waddles. I debated putting this one in, but decided to just for fun. This was a Clube Penguin fan game that was made in 2008, but only ever made it to beta testing. Clube BK. Clube BK was Burger King's virtual world. It was pretty much your standard virtual world, but instead of memberships, kids got access to exclusive items and quests through codes they received in their Burger King Kids meal. This game lasted from 2008 to 2015. Clube Cheetos. I believe this was a Brazilian virtual world centered around Cheetos. I say believe because the only confirmation I can find of this game existing is this Reddit post, and we only have a few images to go off of. Past players suspect the game was online from around 2006 to 2007. Crash Bandicoot Village. Launched in 2007, Crash Village was a virtual world that lived on the Crash Bandicoot website. One cool feature of this game is that you could throw fruit at other players. I know it's not really interesting, but there's not really a lot of info on this game, so bear with me here. This game was intended to promote other games, which is kinda meta. This ended in 2011. DinoKids. Developed by Avocado Games and launched in 2008, DinoKids was your standard virtual world, but with dinosaurs. It looks like the game ended around 2011. DinoSawUs. Launched in 2009, DinoSawUs is yet another dinosaur virtual world. Users could pick which dinosaur they wanted to play as, go on adventures, and play mini-games. This game lasted about 6 years. Dizzywood. This game started in late 2007. Avatars were cartoon-like characters, and can I just say they look kind of disturbing? Like, regardless of the character's movement, the head and eyes are always staring directly at you. Aside from the players, the world featured animals with many different areas to explore. In 2010, the virtual world Secret Builders acquired the assets to Dizzywood for an undisclosed amount of money. With the acquisition, Secret Builders shut down the Dizzywood servers, but gave users the opportunity to migrate their accounts to Secret Builders accounts. And it's safe to say, users were not happy with this decision. DoctorWho World in Time. The universe is in disarray with too many monsters on the loose, but only you can help save the universe. Developed by Sega and based on the popular show Doctor Who, players of this game communicate with other players, go on single-player missions, complete puzzles, and explore distant worlds. This game shut down in 2014. EcoBuddies. Started in 2009, EcoBuddies was a Vancouver-based eco-oriented virtual world targeting younger kids ages 5 to 12, where children could play as hamsters. Ekidna World. Ekidna World was an Australian-based virtual world launched in 2009. One of the unique features of this website was the mate safety option, meaning if selected, every time a player wanted to friend another player, parents would have to enter their child's password before a connection was made. This move ensured ultimate safety. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough to keep the game up, and the game closed in 2012. Ekoloko. This 2008 game was developed in Israel tutorial. The simplified backstory of this game is that residents reside on Ekoloko, but there's a corrupt group of people looking to sabotage their planet through pollution and corruption. Essentially, the goal of this game was to teach kids to be responsible and take care of the environment, but unfortunately the game shut down. Users tried to create a rewritten version in 2021, but halted development due to copyright issues. Fantage. I thought this game was pronounced Fantage, but the YouTube video I watched said Fantage, so I'm going with that. This game launched in 2008 and took place on a floating island with many different places to explore. Players could collect a bunch of different pets, own hoverboards, and play minigames. A lot of users on this game threw house parties, where they essentially all gathered and showed off all the cool cosmetics they got by paying for a membership. This game was really all about showcasing your status and showing everyone that your parents had more money than they did. The game lasted 10 years, and I've linked this fantastic YouTube video below detailing what ultimately led to the game's downfall. Franktown Rocks. Franktown Rocks was the first ever music-driven virtual world. It looks like once Flash Player shut down, so did this game. It's interesting because the website still exists, but when you try to play the game, it says it's under construction. Freddo.com. Freddo is an Australian chocolate bar brand in which the chocolate is shaped like a frog. Freddo.com was a virtual world and was accompanied with an animated series for kids to integrate kids into the Freddo universe. Gaia Online. This is an anime-themed social networking site with a virtual world component and accompanying forums that launched in 2004. Users buy collectible items and play games. Apparently, this game's notable controversy is its issue with the game marketplace, which somehow led to inflation in the game. This site is still running. Garden Party World. Launched in 2009, Garden Party World was a virtual world set in a natural environment. Users create their own gardener, play games, and earn orbs in order to buy seeds. When players planted these seeds, they would turn into accessories and objects, hence the name Garden Party. This game lasted several years. GirlSense. Launched in 2004, GirlSense was a popular game for, you guessed it, girl. Players could create their own fashion pieces, sell them in their boutiques, chat with others, play games, and more. In 2012, the game shut down due to resource issues. Google Lively. Launched in July 2008, this was Google's attempt at a web-based virtual world. Users could customize their avatars, share photos and YouTube videos, and create their own world. The worlds, however, were limited, only allowing 20 players in one world at a time. One cool feature is that users' avatars could interact with one another. For example, they could fight, kiss, and shake hands. It really seems to me like this game had no clear direction and was just counting on the players to make the entertainment for themselves. Google quickly realized this game wasn't going to work, and the game shut down several months after its launch. Groovy Girls. This was a virtual world meant to promote the Groovy Girls doll. The virtual world was free to play, with users being able to talk to other players, dress up their doll, and play games. One thing I find interesting about this virtual world is how big the avatars are. It doesn't fit the traditional virtual world model where there's a ton of players on the screen and they're really small. There's hardly any info on this game, and I can't even find when it shut down. Habbo Hotel. This game has been around since 2000, making it one of the older virtual worlds. This game is basically Club Penguin, but for teenagers and adults, with the minimum age of users having to be 13 in order to register. Microtransactions, gambling, controversial roleplays, and scams are quite prevalent in this game. Happy Studio. Happy Studio was a European-based 3D virtual world intended to promote McDonald's. This game was interesting because unlike the US McDonald's game or the Burger King virtual world, the game didn't include codes and kids meals. This meant that the game was free to play and didn't directly encourage kids to go buy McDonald's in order to get codes, so that's good, I guess. This game lasted from 2011 to 2015. Herotopia. As the name suggests, Herotopia was a superhero-themed game launched by Herotainment, where your mission was to defeat bullies. One cool feature of this game is that players could adopt pets called Smities. Herotopia no longer exists, but Herotainment has seemed to embrace Smities by creating iOS and Android games, an animated series, and NFTs. Oh, come on, guys, was that really necessary? Hip Chicas. Created in 2007, Hip Chicas was the first ever Latina-themed virtual world intended for tween girls. The premise of this game was that members followed 5 Latina musical artists on tour. Each stop along the way, users were supposed to help complete missions to help save the environment. In 2010, Hip Chicas abandoned the virtual world model altogether and expanded to social and mobile games. Innerstar University. Innerstar University was a virtual world meant to coincide with the My American Girl doll line. Users could access the game by purchasing a doll, so there was no monthly membership. But given that American Girl dolls were $150, that was more than enough money. The game closed in 2015. Jimmy Rock's Under the Sea Adventure. In this game, kids could learn sea animal facts, take interactive quizzes, make art, play games, talk to other players, and more. It looks like teachers utilize this in schools. There isn't really a lot of information about this game. Kung Fu Panda World. Developed by DreamWorks Animations, players were able to play games in the Kung Fu Panda universe, become a dragon warrior, face others in Kung Fu face-offs, and more. The game lasted from 2010 to 2012. Lasuni. Lasuni was a virtual world inspired by Habbo Hotel and Animal Crossing. Users could make friends, complete quests, and participated in community events. Unfortunately, in 2015, the company announced they were shutting down, stating that online games have been displaced by mobile games. Recently, it was announced that Lasuni would be coming back under a new game, Hikuda. You can actually play the game now, and I tried playing it, and it's definitely still being developed because it was a little buggy, and I was the only person playing. Space Heroes Universe. In this Australian-based game, users could play as space heroes, explore planets, go on space battles, and try to find Shadowbox, who is the antagonist of the game, and honestly, he's a pretty cool villain if you ask me. The game must have been somewhat popular because they even had merchandise being sold in Australia and New Zealand. The game lasted from 2011 to 2015. Disney's Virtual Magic Kingdom. This 2005 game was intended to promote Disneyland's 50-year anniversary. The game was only supposed to run for 18 months, but the game became so popular that Disney extended the game's runtime. Players could go around to different Disney park attractions, but from the comfort of their own home. For the first couple years of the virtual world, Disney World and Disneyland attendees could actually do scavenger hunts at the theme park to get items in the virtual world, which is a pretty neat tie-in. In 2007, VMK announced they were shutting down the game, which disappointed players everywhere. There is, however, currently a fan recreation called My VMK, which is free to play. LPS VIP, or Littlest Pet Shop VIP. Launched in 2008, users could type in codes they received from Littlest Pet Shop plush pets in order to unlock a virtual experience. If I'm not mistaken, users could only interact with other players if they were friends. The game was shut down shortly after, but Littlest Pet Shop wasn't done yet. Littlest Pet Shop Online. In 2009, Littlest Pet Shop Online was announced. They carried on the same idea from LPS VIP by having to purchase an actual product in order to unlock the character in the world. They expanded on the previous idea by announcing more products, more multiplayer features, and just overall a cleaner looking game. The game shut down in 2011, but there is a fan recreation in the works. McWorld. This was a McDonald's themed virtual world. The game lasted from 2008 to 2015, with users being able to create their own characters and unlock cool exclusive items from Happy Meal codes. I made a whole video on it already, so go watch that if you're bored and have nothing better to do. Me Too. Me Too Universe was a 3D virtual world incorporating the Me Too portable gaming device. Players earned in-game points for every step they took in real life. The game involved linear progression, with players being able to complete quests on different islands. Mingoville. Created in 2009, Mingoville was a Denmark game designed to teach users English. Horseland. Horseland was a 3D virtual world in which players could customize their avatars, ride, breed, and train horses. There was a kids version too that was complacent with Kappa, and of course there was a TV show. The game unfortunately shut down in 2018. World of Jumpstart. World of Jumpstart was a 3D educational virtual world in which players went on missions and were able to explore islands. Out of all the virtual worlds I've forced myself to learn about over the past couple months for this YouTube video, this definitely seems like it was one of the few virtual worlds that was advertised as educational that actually was really educational. Kids were able to learn a variety of different subjects, and some of the games actually looked really fun. Like, I know I would have crushed it at Mathketball. This game shut down in 2023 when the Jumpstart company shut down. Mies. Originally designed as an avatar creation service in 2006, Mies later expanded to a virtual world with a partnership with MySpace where users could log into the game through their MySpace account. Despite MySpace dwindling in popularity at the time, most of Mies' audience was primarily teens who were on MySpace and not on other places like Facebook. Users could decorate their rooms, play videos, dance to music with friends, and date. There was a lot of dating too. And I take back what I said about Dizzywood characters looking unsettling. These guys are really scary looking. It seems like a lot of emos played this game, so I definitely would have fit in. Mies went offline at the end of 2017, but there is a recreation in the works. Mini Monos. Mini Monos was an environmentally friendly themed virtual world, big in the UK and Australia, and it launched in 2011, where young children could play as monkeys and learn about saving the environment. If I had a nickel for every time I saw an environmentally friendly virtual world, I'd have a lot of nickels. I don't know specifically how many, but like at least 5. This game unfortunately shut down in 2013. BabyBottlePop.com. If you don't know what Baby Bottle Pops are, they're essentially lollipops that are shaped like a pacifier that turn you into a baby. In 2008, they launched a virtual world that you could access through a code that you got from buying the product. Essentially, you just walked around the world as a baby. This footage by Crawler929 is the only footage that exists of this game, and I don't even know when it shut down. Mini Planet. Mini Planet was a game launched in 2009 that you could play through Facebook. It pretty much just looks like your typical virtual world, honestly. In 2014, the game shut down, and I found this interesting post by the Mini Planet Voice, which apparently was a blog that was big in the Mini Planet community. This page theorized that the reason the game shut down was due to a hacker creating a gold hack. Buying gold in the game costs real-life money, so someone creating a hack and giving the currency to other players destroyed the economy. I don't know if this is true because it feels like something they'd be able to patch, but I also could be wrong. I am wrong about a lot of things. There is, however, a fan game that is similar to Mini Planet called Mega Planet. Get it? Because the old game was called Mini. No, never mind. Minion Land. Minion Land was an educational virtual world and was a great way for students to learn about economic and financial concepts. This game would have been beneficial for me growing up, considering recently I spent way too much money on these Bionicles and could have definitely used a lesson in finance. Millsberry. Millsberry was a virtual world created by General Mills in 2004. This was an advert game with product placement being literally everywhere you look. The game shut down in 2011. Moochies. Moochies was a handheld device that came out in 2006. You could play the handheld game with friends that were in the same space as you, but when you plugged it into the computer, you could get access to a virtual world. They had variations like Moshi Monsters, Moshi Brats, and Moshi Paws. The world shut down in 2012, but you can play a fan-made version of the game called Mochi's Reborn. Monkey Quest. Released to the public in 2011, Monkey Quest was a Nickelodeon online MMO. They created a unique storyline in which users could pick between 4 different monkey tribes, go on quests, level up their character, and try to defeat some evil guy or something. I don't know, I never played this. There was an app which looks nothing like Angry Birds and even talks for a movie, but that never happened. The game shut down in 2014. Moshi Monsters. Moshi Monsters? Moshi Monsters? I don't know how to say this. Moshi Monsters was an online game that started in May of 2008, but it really took a couple years before the game reached any kind of popularity. Kids took care of their monsters by having to come back every day to prevent their monster from being upset or something. God forbid that happen. Players could get moshlings, which were like pets, so they were like pets for your pets. Members could color their characters, get exclusive access to places, play exclusive games, all that typical membership perk stuff that made kids beg their parents for a membership. Moshi Monsters tried everything to cash in outside of the virtual world with merchandise, mobile games, and even an album. One of their release songs was a parody of Lady Gaga, which actually led to a lawsuit by Lady Gaga's team. It was suspected that the game shut down due to Flash Player ending, but it seemed like the game was dwindling in popularity anyway, so this was inevitable. And yes, there's a rewritten version, obviously. Movie Star Planet. This Danish virtual world was a game aimed at tweens and teens. Users could create movies. I know you can't see my face, but I'm using air quotes when I say movies. There wasn't a lot to do, so it was pretty much a chat room where players formed cliques, bullied other players for not having an expensive membership, dated each other, and more. There were even in-game celebrities who had a following outside of the game, with the most notable one being Pumpkin. Pumpkin? Like many other popular virtual worlds, this game capitalized on merchandise, mobile games, and more. You can still play it, and oh, there's a Movie Star Planet 2 for some reason, and I don't even really want to look into that. Mundo Gaturro. I apologize if I pronounce this wrong. I'm a product of the American school system. This 2010 site was based off the comic strip character Gaturro, big in Argentina. Recently, a few YouTubers fooled all of Argentina by spreading a rumor that the game shut down, but it is still a game that you can very much play. My Coat. Launched in 2002, this was Habbo Hotel, but for like Coca-Cola. Players could make music and play it for other players. Here's a sample of some of the great music you could hear in the game. If other users liked your song, you could earn decibels, which you could then use to buy a bunch of different Coca-Cola related furniture. This game closed in 2007. My E-Pets. Created in 2007, this was yet another Webkinz ripoff. All of these pets look like they're on the verge of tears for some reason. Maybe because they realize they'll never compare to Webkinz. Sorry guys. There was also a 3D version, which looks miserable. I think we really need to start having conversations about 2D flash-based virtual worlds thinking 3D is what kids want. Nobody wants this. NFL Rush Zone. I will probably spend way too much time on this, but this game was a crucial part of my childhood and made me the man I am today. For better or worse. NFL Rush Zone was a virtual world made in order to promote the National Football League. I don't want to brag, but I was sort of like a minor celebrity in this game. I was like the highest level you could be, and I had the most expensive Chicago Bears clothes in the game. I remember that there were always a few girls playing this game, and all the boys would try to compete for their love because they'd be like, oh my god, a girl that likes football. Those don't exist. Can we date, please? I can't remember if it was 2012 or when exactly it was, but I remember I logged into the game one day to just find that the game completely changed. Okay, that's enough yapping. On to the next game that you actually probably know. Nicktropolis. Nickelodeon dipped their foot into the virtual world universe with Nicktropolis. This game featured 3D graphics with players being able to interact with iconic Nick characters and explore areas from select shows. It's no surprise with the Nickelodeon branding behind it that the game was initially pretty successful. In 2010, the game rebranded to Club Nick. There is, however, a project called Nicktropolis Time Warp in which an OG player was able to recover some assets from the game. Club Nick. Club Nick removed the 3D graphics of Nicktropolis and went into a 2D universe. This was a pretty interesting move because normally it's the other way around. This game unfortunately shut down in 2014. Our World. Our World was a free-to-play virtual world that was released in 2008, created by Flowplay. This world was intended for teenagers, where users could go to different islands and chat with one another. In 2020, when Flash Player shut down, the game moved to a downloadable client, and with that, they removed all in-game purchases. If you were a member, however, you would get to keep your membership for life. It's unclear why they removed the membership feature, as I imagine that's where they got a lot of their revenue. But I also suspect this was kind of their way of subtly letting players know, hey, this game's not going to be around for a while. In 2021, the game shut down, citing it was shutting down due to bad actors. Through scrubbing the Our World Reddit, old players suspect the bad actors could be referring to hackers, scammers, or even people selling rare in-game items and coins for real-life money. Panfu. Launched in 2007, this game was pretty much Club Penguin, but with pandas. This game was popular in Europe and even rivaled Club Penguin in terms of popularity. The game began to dwindle in popularity in 2013. They started to fire staff and even began to slowly disable certain languages. The writing was on the wall and the servers expired in November 2016. There are, however, private servers available to play. Pepsi Town. This is a virtual world meant to promote Pepsi products, and I assume it ran in some French-speaking country because all the media I could find was in French. Pet Park. This is a virtual world revolving around Neopets characters. You could choose from 6 different pet species, train them, complete challenges, talk to friends, and more. The game closed in 2014. Pixie Hollow. Pixie Hollow was a game from Disney released in 2008. Located in Neverland, users could pick a talent they wanted to give their avatar and increase talent points by going on quests and playing different games. Since this was a Disney game, of course they tried creating physical products like friendship bracelets, charms, and handheld video games. Disney closed the game along with Toontown and Pirates of the Caribbean towards the end of 2013. There is a fan recreation called We the Pixies, and it's currently in alpha. Planet Soccer. This was a virtual world centered around, wait for it, soccer. You could play mini games and collect trading cards. As far as I'm aware, this game didn't have any attachment to actual soccer leagues, so it's just generic players and jerseys. The game stopped tweeting in 2011, but archived snapshots go as far as 2013, so who knows when this game actually shut down. Planet Kazmo. Released in 2008, this game took place on Planet Kazmo. Some cool features of this game were that you could ride cool spaceships and cars, fish for aliens, and even meet pirates. What's cooler than all those things? things? Well, how about free virtual concerts? And by concerts, I mean pre-recorded songs with crowd noise blaring in the background. They had performances from esteemed artists like Sean Kingston, Metro Station, Weezer, Soulja Boy, and David Archuleta. The electrifying performance of Weezer was not enough to keep the game running, and the game shut down in 2012. Pocoyoco World. Pocoyoco World was a virtual world based off the animated children's TV show, Pocoyo. The game lasted from 2009 all the way to 2018, which is a pretty impressive run. Precious Girls Club. Released in 2008, this online virtual world was intended for young girls. Accompanying the online virtual world were figurines, charms, and books that when purchased gave you 2 months of Rainbow membership and other digital rewards. Players were to earn virtue charms, which could be earned in several ways. One of those ways was by performing acts of kindness in the real world. Essentially, your parents would go online and write an email saying you did something good, and you would get rewarded in the game. Eventually, if you got enough virtue points, you could use them to fly for a limited time. I found a trailer for the game and a few images and some online reviews, but I couldn't find any actual gameplay outside of that. Rocket On. Created in 2008, this game created avatars but forgot to create the actual virtual world component. Instead, your avatar could visit websites with other players while their character was on the screen. They could hang out at places like the CNN website, because kids love that. Users could adopt pets, decorate their character, and play games. It appears the game shut down sometime around 2013. Secret Builders. Originally started in 2008, aimed at young adults, at one time this virtual world boasted millions of users. Users could take quests, throw house parties, participate in talk shows, and fashion shows. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, in 2010, when Dizzywood shut down, Secret Builders acquired the assets in an effort to gain old Dizzywood players. Despite dwindling in popularity over the years, it was not until 2021 that the game shut down thanks to Flash Player ending. Shararam. This is a Russian virtual world started in 2009, though it's pretty much just another Club Penguin knockoff. This actually might be the Club Penguin knockoff of all Club Penguin knockoffs. There was an English version called Roly Poly Land that shut down in 2017, but it looks like the Russian version is still playable with active updates. Shining Stars. I always saw these ads growing up, but never really cared enough to buy one of the plushies, but these ads were literally everywhere. Essentially, this was yet another Webkinz clone. They even had the little star on their foot, like Webkinz have the little W on their foot. With the purchase of a Shining Star, you could even name your own star in real life. But if you actually read the fine print, you realize that these stars weren't actually recognized by the scientific community, but instead they were just featured in the International Star Registry, whatever that means. In the game, you could create videos, play in the Starcade, and even create your own human avatar outside of the pets. After 5 years, unfortunately, the game went bankrupt in 2012. Small Worlds. Small Worlds was a virtual world in which users could express themselves through bobblehead-like avatars. This game consisted of primarily teenagers, but according to Computer World, a lot of soccer moms played this game as well. Users could create and sell art with one another, as well as create rare items, with some of the oldest items from 2008 being valued for several thousand real-life dollars. You see this fox head here? Well, this was valued at $3,000. In February of 2018, it was clear Small Worlds was struggling. They posted on their website asking for people to support the game, stating only 5% of their player base were purchasing from the store each month. This was certainly not a good sign, and a month after encouraging users to support the game, they announced due to financial struggles they had to shut down the servers. Smeet. Smeet was a free 3D virtual world released in 2007, originating in Germany. Like a couple of other virtual worlds we've covered so far, you could watch YouTube videos with other people. But unlike other virtual worlds I've talked about, you could actually use voice chat to talk to people over the game. Users earned fame points, which helped them progress to higher levels, thus gaining a higher social status in the game. The game closed in January of 2024. Spark City World, or allgirlarcade.com. Released in 2008 by Fuel Industries, this virtual world was a world intended for girls, in which they could make friends and do all the typical virtual world nonsense. Unlike most virtual worlds at the time, this game only allowed your avatar to be a girl, but there were guy NPCs that you could date in the game, which isn't strange at all. Per the virtual world fandom wiki, in 2014, a user by the name of Pink Lilac, who was an alleged hacker, wreaked havoc on the game and threatened to hack anyone who disobeyed her, trying to form a cult within the game. The Pink Lilac account kept getting reported for foul language, which led the game to take action in making the chat filters that were already super strict even more strict. And this move, of course, upsetted a lot of players. One of the more frustrating things in virtual worlds was not being able to say what you wanted to say and having messages blocked, even if your message was innocent. Unfortunately, Fuel Industries later filed for bankruptcy. It's unclear why the company went bankrupt, and it's impossible for me to say that this one troll was the reason the game shut down, but it certainly didn't help. Super Secret. Developed in 2007, Super Secret was a game where kids could experience the joys of growing up. Your player would start as a 10-year-old, and then by playing games could earn points to increase their age. The game really tried to simulate real-life experiences. For example, when you turned 16, your character could drive a car. In 2011, Jumpstart, yes, the Jumpstart we talked about earlier, acquired the game and had the bright idea to make it a 3D virtual world. It makes sense as the world of Jumpstart was 3D, but also a little confusing because players of the game enjoyed the 2D version. So moving to a 3D format certainly didn't do them any favors. The game quietly shut down several years later. Tamatown. This was a virtual world that you could only access through a code you received from a Tamagotchi device, if you remember those. The servers shut down in 2013. The Real Tooth Fairies. In this world, users could take a quiz and get matched up with their very own tooth fairy based on their answers. The quiz asked users a few generic questions and then asked them, so which fairy is your favorite? So they just went off of that. You could do fun activities on this game like brush your teeth. The website is still online, but there's no way to visit the virtual world. Trust me, I tried clicking on this button hundreds of times and I couldn't get anywhere. Bear.com. Released to the public in 2003, this virtual world was for everyone. Users could explore different islands and interact with other players. There were card games, quests, kinetic games, and even hoverboards. You know it's a good virtual world when they have hoverboards. The game even partnered with several reputable brands, including Coca-Cola. The game shut down in 2010, citing a lack of revenue due to the economic recession. The game reopened in 2012, and it looks like you can still play. However, the game is essentially dead. Tinier Me. Released in 2009, Tinier Me was a Japan-based virtual world where users could play games and collect rare items. The game had what were known as gacha, which were toy vending machines basically. You could put coins in and receive mystery, rare, and limited edition items. Some of these gachas involve G-coins, which you could only buy with actual real-life money. Japan actually banned this practice in 2012 due to its gambling-like nature. Tinier Me shut down in 2012, citing that the reason was that the game had simply run its course. The Tinier Me fandom wiki page says that it shut down due to the gacha ban, but they have no source listed, so I'm not exactly sure where that info came from. I think that could be a reasonable conclusion, but I can't find anywhere in which that's actually a fact, so who knows? Tiny Planets. In this virtual world, you could create your own alien, adopt pets, build, travel in spaceships, and go on missions. It looks like this world came out around 2010, which is interesting because the world was actually based off an obscure TV show that only ran for one season from 2001 to 2002. Through scrubbing the Wayback Machine, the website was no longer available as of 2016. Tunics. Okay, so I'm gonna be completely honest here, this one really tripped me up. According to the Lost Wiki forums, Tunics World, or Mundo Tunics in Spanish, was a virtual world created by Cartoon Network that was available in Latin American countries and came out around 2012. The footage I found of this game was a 2D version, but I also found a 3D version, which I suspect was the European one, but I'm not 100% sure. There was also Super Stadia, which according to Kotaku was a spin-off focusing on sports. Quite frankly, I had to piece a lot of things together and was left with more questions than answers. So if you know anything about this game, please share your memories down below. Toontown. This was a game released in 2003, created by Disney, in which characters could choose their toon, level up through completing toon tasks, and defeat a bunch of different robot bad guys called cogs by throwing objects and dropping anvils on their heads. I played this game growing up and remember it being on the pricier side. I believe it was about $10 a month to play. Disney shut it down in 2013, but shortly after, a fan recreated version called Toontown Rewritten was released. There have been a variety of other fan-made Toontown servers throughout the years. Planet Clue made a video going over all the different servers, so go check that out when you have the chance. Tootsville. Created by Rez Interactive, this game lasted from 2008 to 2011. There's a 7-minute video explaining the lore of this game, but all you need to know is that you could pretty much play as a colorful elephant. That's it. When you try to go to the website, it invites you to join Tootsville.org, which is supposedly a community-led effort to recreate the the game. As of 2021, the game is in alpha. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a blog post on the game's progress since early 2023, and it does not look playable. TieGirls.com. Released to the public in 2007, Tie Girls were dolls created by Tie, the same company responsible for BeanieBabies. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but purchasing the doll would give you access to a virtual world. This was another virtual world that was intended solely for girls, where users could dress up their dolls and make friends. In 2009, Tie released Marvelous Malia and Sweet Sasha, which seemed to be clearly referencing President Obama's two daughters, Sasha and Malia. Michelle Obama's press secretary came out in a statement saying that they found it inappropriate that they were using the likeness of two private citizens. Tie themselves said these dolls had nothing to do with the Obama girls, which is certainly an interesting defense. Just 1 month after releasing them, they decided to retire them due to backlash. The toy line and subsequent virtual world were shut down in 2013. UB Funkies. These were fun little figurines created by Mattel that were released in 2007. There were several species of Funkies to collect, with some being more rare than others. But it wasn't just a figurine. When you placed one of these little guys on one of these large guys, you could actually access a virtual world. Buying select figures could help you unlock different areas, and other figures would help you unlock different games. There were chat figures that gave you access to chat rooms where you could talk to other players. As of 2011, the game shut down the servers, but users could still log into the game. Upper Deck U. This was a virtual world created by the trading card company Upper Deck. Users could enter an access code from the wrapper of their Upper Deck trading cards. The access code lasted for a few weeks, and once that expired, you would have to buy another pack to keep playing. In the game, you could join teams, collect digital cards, and play games. This game was active from 2009 to 2011. BizWaz. This UK-based virtual world prided itself on its advanced moderation process, including a virtual police force to make sure no one was being inappropriate or bullying one another. Just imagine saying a bad word and the virtual police confronts you. Another feature was that literally everyone had hoverboards, which goes back to what I said earlier about virtual worlds with hoverboards. You know it's a good game. The game stopped around 2011, but in March of 2023, their social pages teased a comeback. As of June 2023, they have been experimenting with potentially incorporating virtual reality, but there haven't been any updates since then. B-Side. Launched in 2006, V-Side was a social networking site for teens, where they could dance to music, host parties, go boutique shopping, and more. Like in real life, users tried to attract fame and climb up the social ladder. The virtual currency was called V-Bucks. You hear that, Fortnite? You might have a lawsuit on your hands. In 2009, the company responsible for V-Side, called Doppelganger, shut the game down. Exit Reality acquired the game that same year and brought it back. In 2013, users reported trouble getting onto the game. V-Side posted on Facebook saying that they were currently working on the servers. This was the last post, so it's safe to say they never finished working on the servers. They'll come back eventually, guys. Let's just hold out hope. Weevils World. This was yet another environmentally themed virtual world. I'm starting to think these games thought they could get more parents on board by promising environmental education. One of the initiatives that they had in order to get kids to be environmentally conscious was that they would get chased by a bear if they didn't turn off the lights in the game. My best guess is that this game lasted from 2008 to 2011. Webkinz. Released by Gans in 2005, this was one of the most popular toy-to-life games. You would purchase a pet and you could play with your pet on Webkinz World. I talked about this in depth on my channel already, so watch that video when you can. The game still functions under the name Webkinz Classic, and also has Webkinz Next, which is like this 3D version that nobody asked for. Webosaurs. Okay, so this was a virtual world, but with dinosaurs. But this time, the dinosaurs had armor for some reason. Released in 2009, users could decorate their cave, go on missions throughout the island, and play as one of 4 characters. The server shut down in 2012. Woogi World. Woogi World was one of the early adopters of the virtual world model. This was a game intended for teens, but judging by the reviews and comments I've seen online, everyone was lying about their age in order to date each other. The comment underneath this YouTube video summarizes it best. Quote, "To the boy that thought I was 17, I was actually 12. I'm sorry, I lied." Even with efforts to censor specific words, there was plenty of swearing, bullying, dating, and let's just say inappropriate activities that do not belong on a children's game. This game was infused with celebrity culture, creating avatars for all the popular celebrities at the time.
Hey, what's up? It's yours truly, Jason Derulo. Please check out my Wee Me on WeWorld.com.
We all know Jason Derulo wasn't actually playing this game. World. This was part social networking site, part virtual world, designed for players and artists. Users designed avatars that other players could use and played casual games. There was quite the variety in ways that you could express yourself, which is always really cool. You could even take images from the internet and put it on your room, leading to monstrosities like this. You can still play the game under the name World Club, under a downloadable client. Weevils. This game launched in 1999, and honestly it looks like there hasn't been an update since. Avatars are floating bodies with no arms or feet. This video by Actual Trash TV summarizes the Weevils experience best.
Scion Driving School. Learn also. This game.
The Travels of Winglington and Winks. This was a virtual world based off a series of children's books. Users could travel to different parts of the world, find famous historic figures like Beethoven and Einstein who were somehow transported to present day. The game lasted from 2009 to 2011. As of 2011, they are still looking for people who have financial and marketing potential to help bring the game back. I wonder if they're still taking offers on that. Through the Wild Web Woods. The Council of Europe designed this game around 2007 as a way for children to practice safety on the internet and avoid the potential dangers. It taught them ways to protect their identity, recognize harmful content, avoid scams, and more. Woogi World. I had a viewer ask me to cover this, so I hope you made it this far, buddy. This was a virtual world designed for kindergartners through 6th grade students. It created a partnership with 50,000 elementary schools and was integrated with school curriculums. I think this is an interesting model, but I can't help but think a game intended for schools could limit potential growth. But what do I know? I'm just some YouTube guy on the internet. Woogi World. This was another virtual world intended for teens. I actually vaguely remember playing this one as a kid. I remember trading and selling items as well as trying to become rich in the game. You can still play this game actually, and who knows, maybe you can make the list for top famous Woosians in 2024. World of Cars Online. Launched in 2007, this was a virtual world centered around the world of Disney cars. Users could design their own cars, visit Radiator Springs, and race each other. There was a lot of racing. This was a racing game, basically. The racing unfortunately stopped in 2012 when the game shut down. Xeko Elf Island. Okay, everyone, this one was a little confusing. Xeko was a card game in which the cards were different endangered species. I believe there was a virtual world that went along with it as well, called Xeko Elf Island, in which you were an elf or something. The game shut down, and the game's owner, Good Egg Studios, sold it back to the founder, Amy Tucker. Amy Tucker then tried to make a Kickstarter to turn the physical card game into a digital card game. And she said if they raised $350,000, she would bring back Elf Island as well. She only raised $250,000, but according to this Pokecaller article, the money her company made was liquidated and declared bankruptcy, and the game never came to fruition. Xeko World. According to the game's Facebook page, this game started in 2006. The owner said, quote, "I wish it wasn't so, but Xeko is less popular than ever, and I'm losing money on it every month. So many other games have come along with innovative features using new technologies, and there just isn't room for Xeko anymore. It was state-of-the-art when it opened, but now it's just not worth maintaining." In 2020, the game hinted at a comeback, but I can't find any evidence that the comeback actually happened. Zula World. Zula World was a virtual world based off the TV show The Zula Patrol. Users could build spaceships and complete missions. I'm not trying to be rude, but the voice in this video really bothers me.
Type your alien name right here and your password here.
Zwinky. Launched in 2006, this was just another virtual world. All these virtual worlds are starting to blend with each other at this point, and this one doesn't really look that special, but they did have this catchy theme song, so good job, guys.
Swinky, swink, I wanna hang out with you.
This game had a 10-year run and closed in 2016. Sea Pals. In this game, kids received a code from buying a Sea Pal plush, which could bring their aquatic friend to life. At least that's what I think Sea Pals were, because the audio in this video explaining it was all over the place. Bee Brats. Launched in 2007, this was a virtual world for girls by the doll line Bratz. Users access the virtual world by buying a Bee Bratz doll, which included a USB necklace to plug into the computer. Cookies. Alright, so I'm kind of getting tired of repeating myself when it comes to these virtual worlds. This was just another virtual world where you could bring your plush pet to life, but on a virtual world. Someone please save me. I don't think I can keep doing this. Bow Bow Bang Bang. This was a Chinese 3D based virtual world in which users could be an animal. That's all I got. Sorry. Cackleberries. Taking place in Oville, this was an educational game where users could create their own cack pals. I know it's not anything bad, but that name just sounds so wrong for some reason. There were 16 different learning zones and over 300 different lessons. Boom Bang. This was another virtual world in which users could explore islands and meet people. The English version shut down in 2014, but you can supposedly play the game under boombang.nl, but it's in Spanish. I say supposedly because I tried playing and they never sent me a verification email, so I don't know. Action Jets. This was a virtual world centered around jets. All I could find were a few trailers, but if I could give some advice to this game, it's this. If your game is targeted towards young boys, maybe don't use the word cute in all your promotional material. They hate that. Camp Fu. Launched in 2008 by Rebel Monkey, this was a game intended for teens, in which users could train at a summer camp, join teams, and play in competitive challenges. According to VentureBeat, within the first couple months, the game had 100,000 registered players, but I can't find any additional info, or even video of the game. AWOL Now. This was another 3D chat-based game, launched sometime in the mid-2000s, that shut down in 2013. One of the unique features of this game is that you could actually get married to other players. Second Life. I originally had this in my notes as Our Second Life, which was a popular YouTube collab channel, if any of you remember that. Launched in 2004, this is a virtual world where users can express themselves freely and live their true second life. Users can communicate over voice chat and explore a bunch of different areas. You can still play this game, with the game releasing frequent updates. Zoo Kazoo. This is another virtual world that had a fire theme song.
There's a cool new world that's waiting for you, and it goes by the name of Zookazoo. Step into our world and you will see all the wonderful things that you can be.
Avatars were animals, but I'm sorry, I can't get over how great that theme song is. Can we hear some more of it, please?
Your look and color is under your control. You can even be a walking, talking toilet paper roll. Jugaloo is a place where you can be.
Zibby Zone. This was supposedly another Toys to Life virtual world. Users could gain access by purchasing a Zibby plush toy. Yo World. Originally called Yoville, this game was launched in 2008 by Big Viking Games. They announced it was shutting down in early 2014, but then backtracked in March saying that the game was staying. You can still play this game today. Girl Ambition. This was a site intended for girls, if you couldn't tell. I can't find any gameplay, so I hope you enjoyed these couple screenshots I have of the homepage. Hello Kitty Online. This virtual world started around 2007 to 2008. The game was centered in the Hello Kitty universe, where users could train their pets, play games, and visit different countries. According to MMO Fallout, the game stopped receiving updates in 2012. In 2015, the game's database was leaked, exposing 3.3 million accounts, including their usernames, birthdays, gender, country, email, password hint questions and answers, and more. The game shut down sometime between 2017 to 2018. City Pixel. Users could navigate this game through this hoverboard mechanic. One interesting feature is that advertisers could pay to have their ads on billboards in the game for $30. I'm not even sure how effective that is, considering everyone ignores real-life billboards, so I don't know why they would pay attention to online ones. Pop Tropica. This was the brainchild of Diary of a Wimpy Kid author Jeff Kinney. In this game, users could go on quests to different islands. In late 2023, there was a rumor that the game was shutting down that turned out not to be true. Fresbo World. Released in 2009, in this game, users could assemble blocks to create different structures and interact with one another. Chapatis. I don't know much about this game, but all the promotional material is in French. It looks like you can still play this game. It even let me walk around without making an account. Go Pets. Launched in South Korea in 2005, this was a game in which users could create a pet, dress it up, and interact with other players. In 2009, the game was sold and quickly shut down. V-Zone. This game has been around since 1995, with the game still being updated each month, which is pretty wild. I have no idea how this is still running, but some things you just can't explain, I guess. Weblin. In this virtual world, avatars could visit the internet with other players. This seems like the same concept as Rocket On, but I can't find which game actually came out first. In Weblin, you could actually use your avatar from the game's second Second Life, which we talked about earlier. It looks like you can still download this game under weblin.io. Star Doll, launched in 2006, in this game members could dress up their doll as well as celebrity dolls. As of 2016, the game reported that they had 400 million registered users. You can still play this game today. IMVU. IMVU, which is short for Instant Messaging Virtual Universe, launched in 2004 and is essentially a dating game in which 3D avatars could join chat rooms and try to date one another. 18 plus users would create NSFW rooms and do pretty inappropriate things in the game. Despite the game setting parameters for children 17 and under being unable to talk with those 18 and up, it takes no rocket scientist to get around that. The game has had controversies such as predators taking advantage of younger kids, other horrific crimes, and even catfishing scandals. This video by Visual Venture goes into some unbelievable detail of all the different scandals of this game over the years. The game is still available to play. Chit Chat City. Released to the public in 2010, Chit Chat City allowed users to customize their avatar, decorate their house, and party. This game shut down in 2018. Hey there, thanks for sitting through that. I know typically you're used to me talking for 10 minutes, so probably hearing me talk for an hour was a lot for you, so I'm really sorry about that. I kind of wanted to give my final thoughts and takeaways after completing the months of editing and researching this video. The first thing I wanted to talk about were memberships. Most of the virtual worlds that I discussed in this video required some kind of paid membership, either to get into the game or to access all of the game's perks. I remember as a kid always feeling like I needed to be a member because I wanted to see what was on the other side of the screen. I wanted to get all of the access to all of the different content. But I think deep down, I really just wanted like the cool outfits and like to, you know, have like cool items in my room. I think that's all I really cared about, was kind of that status symbol. I feel like paid memberships are kind of a necessary evil. I mean, they need them to keep the game running. I don't think they can survive off of advertisers alone. I think as long as the paid memberships aren't expensive and are actually offering cool new content and actually updating it, I think that's pretty cool. Mobile games. Another thing I noticed were a lot of these virtual worlds trying to tap in on the mobile game market. Virtual worlds were pretty hot at the time, so it only makes sense that the companies that were getting in on virtual worlds would then try to shift over to mobile games when that was the next fad. Some of these virtual worlds abandoned the model altogether and just went solely on mobile games, while others tried to do two at the same time. I can't really speak too much about mobile games because I know personally, I just was never really a fan. I don't really like playing games on my iPhone. All I really do is kind of go on YouTube. I was never really a mobile gamer. The next thing I wanted to talk about were fan recreated games. You know, when a virtual world is no more and shuts down, but fans rally together to bring the game back under a private server. Probably the most prominent examples are New Club Penguin and Toontown Rewritten. These are really just passionate community members that love the game and were fans of the game and just want to make sure that everyone can still experience it. And I don't really think these games are attracting a new player base. It's really just a lot of people that grew up with the original games just trying to relive the nostalgia. I remember I was playing Club Penguin with a friend a couple weeks ago, just out of curiosity. And I asked people, I was like, how old are you? Which I know is kind of a weird question, but I was genuinely curious. And pretty much everyone there were in their mid to early 20s. It was just a lot of people trying to recapture that feeling that they had back in second grade. Me personally, I played Club Penguin for about 15 minutes, and then I was like, oh, this is a kid's game. I'm bored. I'm gonna leave now. Now, in theory, Disney actually has the rights to take down Toontown Rewritten or New Club Penguin. They actually did it with Club Penguin Online. Club Penguin Online was a private Club Penguin server in which, let's just say, there were some really bad things happening on that website. Lack of moderation, racist content, a lot of not good stuff that Disney did not want their brand associated with. So Disney actually went out of their way to take that Club Penguin site down, but the other New Club Penguin is still up. Other companies are a little more strict with their copyrights. For example, Build-A-Bearville Rewritten actually got a copyright claim from Build-A-Bear. But I do think it's frustrating that a company like Build-A-Bear, which willingly took the website down, is willing to issue a copyright claim on a site that's just trying to keep the game going. As far as I'm aware, these fan servers aren't making any money. If anything, I would probably guess the people running these servers are losing money. All these users are trying to do is to preserve a game that they love. That's it. Yes, you're gonna have some bad actors like Club Penguin Online, and those need to be dealt with accordingly. But a lot of these people are just fans of the old game that just want to keep playing it. One more thing when it comes to rewritten projects, just be patient. A lot of these virtual worlds that I talked about have some fan recreations in the works. And whenever you go on that page, it's a bunch of people being like, where's the game? You know, I want it now, all this stuff. And I think what you need to realize is that these aren't professional developers. And what I mean by that is a lot of these people, you know, they have other commitments, they have full-time jobs. It's not like they're working on these rewritten projects full-time. They gotta do a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, maybe you can be more impatient with a full-time developer who it's their full-time job to work on a game, but these guys are all volunteers, so it's just important to be patient. That's a virtue or something. I think my mom told me that once. I don't know where I heard that. Lost media. Another really interesting aspect of this was when doing research, there was a lack of videos and images from a lot of these virtual worlds. Some virtual worlds were more documented than others, but there were some that I remember being kind of popular as a kid where I couldn't really find much information at all. And some of these sites had hundreds of thousands of registered users, and I couldn't find one video of someone playing the game. It's not like screen recording didn't exist. Screen recording was a thing that people knew how to do at this time. I think it was more that people just didn't really know that these sites were ever going to leave. I mean, we were all young and naive. Me personally, I remember playing these games and being like, man, I can't wait to have this Club Penguin account until I'm 45 years old, and I'm gonna have the best igloo ever, and my kids are gonna play on it. And I remember thinking that and thinking that all these games would live forever, but in reality, they don't. And I think a lot of younger kids just kind of took these for granted. They were just playing the game. You don't think to preserve this stuff or take video. And if you do take video or pictures, you're not really posting them online. I really do encourage anyone watching this, if you remember taking video or pictures of these games as a kid, to post them online. You'd be surprised how little information there is on some of these games. Originality. Pretty much all these games had the same standard formula. You create an avatar, you dress your avatar, you get a home, you decorate your home, play games, and talk to other players. What made virtual worlds stand apart were the graphics, the different mini games you could play, the cool exclusive items, but all these things boiled down to the surface were essentially just the same thing. It was kind of just like pick your poison. Hey everybody, so my camera died, so I'm gonna just wrap things up here. Before the video ends, I just wanted to let you know that all of the video footage that I used is going to be linked in a playlist down below. There's hundreds of different videos that I found on YouTube. So if you're curious, I highly recommend going down there and checking that out. Another thing, I also did a playlist linking a lot of YouTubers that kind of inspired this video and some YouTubers that go more into depth into different virtual worlds. But thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you sitting through the whole thing. It really means a lot. Please comment down below your favorite virtual worlds. Maybe if there was a virtual world I missed, share your memories. I'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you have not already. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.